Hi student, welcome to my channel Learning Accounts. Today I am going to discuss about the part 2 of the not for profit organization NPO, and this chapter is comes under the class 12 of the part A book. Today the cover of the topic cover is meaning of the income and expenditure account and practically aspect of the board of point. So if anybody creating a confusion about this topic, to please watch till the end of this video, and all the point and all the queries should be clear by me by easy manner. So if anybody miss out the part 1 of this video, not for profit organization, which I already covered the receipt and payment account of the concept, so please visit my description box and click on the previous link of the video. So okay student, today I am going to discuss about the income and expenditure account. So shall we go for the next slide? Now income and expenditure account. So this is a specimen of the income and expenditure account which I have mentioned in the slide. The Friends Club Delhi income and expenditure account as of the date. Expenditure side is a debit side and income side is a credit side. So everybody should know about that income is always be credited and expenditure always be debited. It's a nominal account or nominal nature of an account, and all the items should be revenue nature and revenue expenditure or revenue income. Okay. So under the income account, the first point is to be the subscription account. The subscription is a solely income of any NPO organization, and it is received by the organization from the members, and it's just like a nominal nature and revenue receipt. So there in this subscription account there is a four add and less item. Four, which means that if any person is not be paying any amount to related to the current year, that should be the outstanding at the end of the year, or any amount which is related to the previous year, but that should be received by this year, not in a previous year. So that should be the outstanding at the beginning. So in this video, if you see that the line of add item, the outstanding at the end of the year of the subscription should be added, as well as the outstanding at the beginning of the year should be deduction. Okay. So in advance case, if any person already paid the subscription amount for the current year in previous year, like for example that if I'm going to tell about that 2019 to 20, I'm preparing the 2019 to 20 of the income and expenditure account, right? If 2019 and 20 I'm preparing, so amount of the 2019 or 20 for the amount like 1000 or 2000 for any one person already paid in 2018-19, so that is advance in the beginning. So that amount of the receipt from the person is related to the 2019-20, which means current year relation of this amount. So current year income always added under the subscription account, or previous year advance which is related to the current year always added into the subscription account. And if it is received for the next year any amount, that amount should be deduction, like less advance at the end of the year, which means that if any person already paid for the 2020-21 and I am preparing the 2019 or 20 of the income and expenditure account, so that amount related to the 2020, not for the 19, so we have to be deduction this amount under the subscription account and the 2019 income and expenditure account. So understand student what I am telling, that whatever the amount has been received from the person which is related to the only current year, that should be included, or if it is not related to the current year but it should be related for the previous or any next year, that amount so will be deduction from the income side of the subscription account. Correct student? Now the moving of the next point is that entrance phase, it is a recurring nature of our income, so that should be included in this income side. Then admission phase, that is also a recurring nature. You already know that the every parents have been paid every month 5,000 2,000 per child, so that is admission phase. Okay. Now the donation, yeah, under this donation we have make a point that all the donation is to be a general, not for the specific. So building donation is not be recorded under the income side, but general donation, nothing has been mentioned about the question that that donation to be utilized for any particular purpose. So that is a general donation. Then this that donation should be recorded under the income side. Likewise, in the legacy donation, that should be also generally, so that it should be recorded under the income side. If it is any specific donation like building donation, car donation, or something like that donation, that should be recorded under the liability side of the balance sheet. Okay, student. Now the next point is to be sale of the old newspaper. Then rent, if it is received from any person, or any building rent received from any building tenant, okay, who have already hired for that building from us. Okay, so same wise, if there is any sundry received, that should be recorded. Or if any fixed asset sold, or we have received some extra amount after deducting the costing amount of that fixed asset, so that is called gain of sale of fixed asset. That should be a income and recorded under the income and expenditure side of the income. Okay, so same wise, if expenditure side, if I am taking the salary, so under the salary there is a two item which I mentioned, that outstanding at the end of the year, outstanding at the beginning of the year. So outstanding at the end of the year means that the any amount which has to be which we have to be payable position to a employee for this current year, but still we are not paying, but eventually we will be pay this amount in next year, or we are going to pay this amount in next year to the employee. So that is the current year outstanding should be added in this salary, because that amount is related to the current year, not for the next year. Correct, student? Now the point of understand is that outstanding at the beginning is the same as like in a current year. So if any amount which was receivable, or which was payable, sorry, which was payable in previous year, but will be paid by, or was paid by current year, so that amount should be deduction from the salary, because that amount should be related to the previous year, is not for the current year. So same wise, if any rent paid, that should be recorded under this expenditure side, and that rent should be recorded within a 12 months, not recurring nature. Okay, like in the same case, the insurance premium, if it is any premium is paid for the next year, that should be deduction from the insurance premium, and current year charges of the insurance premium should be recorded under the expenditure. Correct, student? So we have to move. The next point is to be a audit fees and printing stationery, that should be a recurring nature expenditure. And recurring nature expenditure means that every expenditure, whatever the recurring nature means, that every month, every quarterly basis, every half yearly basis, but it should be repeating within a 12 months. So that expenditure should be recorded under the expenditure account. So for that case, the honorarium, telephone expenses, repairs, depreciation, loss of sale of fixed asset, and sports material use, these are the items which is recurring nature and revenue expenditure, that should be recorded under the expenditure account. And after all the expenditure items and income item recorded, so we have to be added the separately for the expenditure and income. After that, if the expenditure item is more than income item, then we have to be called a deficit. And you see my point, that by loss of income and expenditure deficit in a income side, which means the expenditure amount is more than the income amount. In if flip side of this point is that if income amount is more than expenditure side, so you have to see the expenditure column to gain of the income and expenditure for surplus in last line of this specimen. So in last line I already mentioned that the gain, which means the organization have an ample surplus amount received from the outsider after deducting all the expenditure. So this is a specimen, and it should be clear that every item which is related to the income and expenditure should be a revenue nature, and it should be a recurring nature, and this account is normally called for nominal account. So student, I hope you cleared all the point, all the queries about the income and expenditure, which item should be recorded or which item should not be recorded, and which item is to be recorded after deducting the outstanding, and which outstanding is to be deducted and which outstanding is to be added. So these are a point which I am already mentioned in this specimen, and it should be very easy to clear your doubt. I hope this specimen is to be clear. If there is any problem or any confusion creating, then please put on your comment on my video of this comment box so that I can easily clarify your queries and easy manner. Okay, so now the next slide is now the practical question. I have taken up one question practically for the income and expenditure account. So if you see my question, from the following trial balance and other information pertaining to the year ended 31st March 2012 for Delhi school. So we have to be prepared the income and expenditure account for the year and balance sheet at the end of the year 31st March 2012. And they have given the debit balance and a credit balance, all the item. Furniture and fitting is 16,000, laboratory 40,000, library 50,000, building is 2 lakh, investment at 10%, which is 1 lakh, salaries is 1 lakh 60,000, stationery is 10,000, general expense 6,000, annual function expenses 2,000, cash at bank is 16,000, and cash in hand 500. In the same side, if a credit balance, we have to say the creditor for supply 4,000, fees received 1,50,000, entrance fees 3,000, hire of hall 5,000, miscellaneous receipt 1,500, government grants 30,000, general fund 3,60,000, donation received for extension to science block 40,000, sale of old furniture 7,000 on 1/10/2011. So under this question, if you see the donation received for the extension to science block, this is a specific donation. So there is this donation is not be related for a general. So under this donation is recorded under the balance sheet, not in the income and expenditure of the income side. So student, be careful before preparing the income and expenditure to clarity about the question, and please be carefully read all the items whether it should be specific or general. So it should be bifurcation before making an income and expenditure, so that it could be easy for understanding the which item recorded under the income and expenditure side, or which item should be going to a balance sheet of the asset and liability side. So now going to the next slide for the other adjustment has been mentioned in this question. So adjustment item is given in question is fees still receivable are rupees 6,000 and salary still payable are rupees 14,000. New furniture which is costing rupees 20,000 was purchased on 1st October 2011. Student, please make it a note that purchase of the furniture is 1st October 2011, which is a mid of the year, but no entry has been passed for it yet. Furniture sold was book of the value is 10,000 1st April 2011. So another of this adjustment of the furniture is sold, or which is happen on 1st April 2011. So please make a note, and I have given a working note about that, how to be calculate a depreciation as well as how to be calculate the loss of the furniture. So in next video we have making a solution about this question. So please going for the next slide. So income and expenditure account of the Delhi school for the year ended 31st March 2012. The solution is here. So in this slide I have prepared the income and expenditure account and balance sheet also. If you see the income side of this account, I have wrote down that fees received is 1,50,000 and outstanding fees is 6,000. The outstanding fees means the adjustment entry already given in previous slide, that still the fees is receivable 6,000. So amount not received in current year, but that amount is to be related to a current year income. So we have to be added in this fees received, and whenever is to be going to the receive in next year, that should be deduction from that period. Okay. So today if I am taking this outstanding fees is fees received 1,50,000 plus 6,000, which is comes under the 1,56,000. Now the other recurring nature of the item of income, entrance fees 3,000, which is mentioned in this income side. Now then hire of the hall 5,000. Investment, I have given the investment in this question is that 1 lakh rupees, and interest rate is mentioned, but there is no mention about the interest received. So which means that we have to be making this interest on the investment, and that interest should be recorded as a interest receivable. Still we have not received any amount of the interest, but it going to be received in next year. So here this income is related to the 2012 current year related income. So we have to be mentioned in the income side of the interest in income and expenditure, as well as the asset side of the balance sheet of the end year 31st March 2012. So under the balance sheet, if you see that the after investment point, one one point is mentioned is that interest outstanding on above 1 lakh, and after the 1 lakh, the amount is to be mentioned is 10,000. So interest on it outstanding is to be 10,000 here is mentioned. And in income side, if you see that the interest on investment 10% of a 1 lakh rupees is equal to 10,000. Okay. So miscellaneous receipt is 1500. Government grants is 30,000. This government grant is to be a recurring nature. If there is any specific purpose and mentioned in the question, then it should be recorded under the balance sheet side of the liability. Okay, but there is nothing mentioned about the specific, so it should be treated as a general. So 30,000 is to be recorded, and deficit excess of expenditure over income 4100. After that, income recorded, all the expenditure should be recorded in expenditure side. So first point is to be salary paid, and same like in a fees receipt. If we see in a adjustment entry, the salary payable amount is to be given 14,000. So that is to be related to a current year outstanding, which means that it should be added in the current year expenditure. So after adding of this item, the 1,60,000 plus 14,000 is to be becomes a 1,74,000. Then stationery 10,000, general expenses 6,000, annual expenses 2,000. Depreciation is to be mentioned here 2,100, 8,000, 5,000. But this depreciation to be calculated after the selling and purchasing of the furnitures and other things items whatever mentioned in the questions. So working note of this depreciation to be given in the next slide. So once we are going to the next slide, I have given all the details about the how to be calculated depreciation. Okay, student. Now the loss of the furniture is solved with 2,500, which is a recurring nature or revenue expenditure. That calculation should be also mentioned in the working note. So working note should be mentioned in next slide. So once we are moving to a next slide, I will show how to we calculate the loss on furniture also. So afterward, this item of expenditure and income to be recorded. So all the items should be added in expenditure side to be added, and the income side of the items should be added. So once the expenditure and income amount is to be calculated, so expenditure amount is more than the income amount, so that the deficit of the income is 4,100. It means the expenditure is more than income. So this is a loss of the organization. So loss to be deducted from the general fund. So I have given a one dialog box corresponding to this general fund, the deficit and surplus. If it is deficit, the less or deduction from the general fund or capital fund, or if it is a surplus, it is to be added in the general fund and capital fund. So afterward, the donation for extension to the science block, that should be amount is a specific of a donation to be recorded under liability side, or an other liability amount like creditor for suppliers, outstanding salaries, and creditor for furniture. Likewise, in an asset, the cash at bank, cash in hand, investment, and in interest to be calculated. So that interest should be, because this is not a received by the organization, but it should be a receivable part. After that, the fees outstanding, which is also be a receivable part. Then furniture and fitting, any item which is adding during the year, so that should be 20,000 to be added, and minus for the sold out of the furniture 10,000, and afterward whatever the amount has been come, that should be deducted from the depreciation. After that, the amount is to be arrived is 24,400. So this is basically how to prepare the income and expenditure and the balance sheet of the item. And you see that the depreciation calculation already mentioned in a working note. So I already given a dialog box about that, how to be calculate. Then current year outstanding should always be added in this expenditure and income, as well as recorded. If it is income outstanding, should be recorded under the asset side, and expenditure outstanding should be recorded under the liability side. So this is a preparation or technique about the income and expenditure and the balance sheet of the end of the year. So next slide, I have given the continue of this solution. So please move on the next slide. So if coming to this point, asset side, the laboratory. I have already told you about that the laboratory is a asset, and in question there is depreciation is to be mentioned about the laboratory. So that depreciation is to be calculated and deduction from the laboratory. So asset side, if you see that the laboratory is 40,000 and less the depreciation 8,000, which is amounting to become is 32,000, and in the same side the library, the less the depreciation is 5,000 and 45,000 net amount to be recorded under the asset side. And then building, the building is 2 lakh. So whatever the amount is assets related, that should be recorded under the asset side, and whatever the amount which is related to the liability side should be recorded under the liability side, and both asset and liability should be added. And one thing is to be kept in mind that every student, that asset is always equal to liability. If there is any difference between the asset and liability amount, then it means that your solution will be wrong, and there is any wrong calculation to be happen, so that the asset or liability should not be matched with your question. Okay, so under this working note, if I'm going to the working note is that I already told you that the calculation of the depreciation on furniture will be given. Okay, so my first point is to be depreciation, how it is to be calculated on the furniture, because there is a lot of transaction on the furniture, purchase, sale, and old amount and depreciation. So first of all, you have to be clarity about it, when we are going to purchase and when we are going to sold out this asset. Okay, so that date should be clarity about that. According to that date, we have to make for that which how much amount is recorded for the 1 year, how much amount is to be recorded for the 6 month, and how much amount is recorded for the 6 month. Okay, so we have derived the three amount of 6,000 for the 1 year. That amount should be maintained in a whole year. Then on 10,000, which is available only for the 6 months, and next 20,000 is available for only the 6 months. So according to this, for 6,000 into 10% is a 600, 10,000 into 10% into 6 by 12, because that 10,000 is available for only the 6 months. So we have to be calculated for the depreciation only the 6 months student, not for the whole year. So every student have a big mistake, or doing a big mistake is that every depreciation or whatever the interest is to be calculated also, but that amount is wholly taken and they are charging for the whole year, not for the period wise, or we have to say that the month wise. So it is very difficult to explain the student that how it will be bifurcated. So today I am bifurcating like this, so that it should be very clarity and easy way that how much amount is available for the 1 year, how much amount is available for the 6 month, next 6 month, and rest of the amount how much is to be available for the how much amount, how much month, sorry, how much month, correct. So after this calculation of this depreciation, the total amount is to be depreciation is 2,100 for the furnishing and fixture. Then next calculation is to be calculation of the loss on furniture. So loss on furniture, how it is we calculate, because in previous slide I already mentioned that loss on furniture is something amount is 2,500. Okay, so that 2,500 there is nothing a calculation mentioned on the expenditure side. So why I am not putting that calculation on the expenditure side, because there is a hectic or problem to understand the teachers or examiner if all the calculation put on the expenditure and income. So for neat and clean work, for neat and clean clarity about the calculation, so you have to be calculation mentioned under the working notes. So in working note number 2, the calculation of loss on furniture is that I have a book value of the furniture is to be 10,000, which is sold in 1st April 2011. So before sold this amount, we have to be charged a depreciation. So depreciation is to be charged as 500, because this sold for the sold this furniture after the 6 month. So after the 6 month means that the asset of the value of 10,000 is available only for the 6 month. So depreciation should be charged only for the 6 month. So 10,000 minus depreciation 500 Afterward, whatever the amount is to be available for the furniture is 9,500. And now the amount realized after sold out this furniture, the bank has been received is 7,000 rupees. But the cost of the furniture is to be 9,500. So again, 2,500 is a mismatch because the 2,500 is not realized by the organization. So that amount is going to under the loss on disposal of furniture. So student, today you understand that how to be calculate a loss on disposal of furniture, or if sorry, already you have cleared the class 11th, so you have already taken a commerce, and you already know about the depreciation chapter, because in class 11 the depreciation chapter already teach you by teachers. So whatever the calculation is to be learned from the depreciation, that calculation should be put on this income and expenditure account also. There is nothing hard and fast rule or nothing any scientific rules to be applied for here in this question. Okay, so every working note should be precise and clarity about the examiner before going to be present this question, because without working note your question will not be valid and it should be mentioned treated as a cheating. So please be careful, whatever the calculations to be recorded under the income and expenditure should be mentioned as a working note, and all the calculations should be recorded under the working note also. So in left hand side I have given a one rectangular tab also, which I mentioned that every year the depreciation deducted from the respective fixed asset under the balance sheet for the end of the year. If question is available already about available for depreciation or already mentioned about the depreciation, that give this fixed asset should be deducted as a depreciation. So that depreciation to be deducted for your fixed asset. Okay, so it should be mentioned in every year. It's not one time process, it is mentioned for the every time. Okay, so today I am going to teach you the income and expenditure, and by precisely, and everything, every concept should be clear. I hope all concepts should be clear and there is nothing confusion right now, and you have to be prepared the income and expenditure by easy manner after this video is to be watching. Okay, I hope student today you have cleared all the concept and queries about the income and expenditure account. If you would like this video, please share more and more to other students also this video, so that they have to be given a chance to clarity about the income and expenditure and other videos like other concept of the accounting also. Okay, so if you are like this video, to please share, subscribe and comment on my video, and please do the subscribe more and more so that you get more new updation of the video and new topic of the video of the accounting. Okay, so thank you student, take care.